Hello and welcome to another edition of Paydirt Remote. I'm Michael Washbourne, and today I'm joined by Technology Metals Australia Managing Director Ian Prentice to talk about the company's recent binding offtake agreement. Ian, welcome.
Thanks, Michael.
Ian, probably the biggest milestone in the company's history to date. Tell us about this binding offtake deal that you've signed and what it means for the company in the long run.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. I guess the DFS that we announced last year was also a pretty key milestone. But yeah, as you say, this is a very, very significant milestone and really follows up that DFS and backs that up very, very strongly as far as the quality of that work we did. So we've been working with this group for over 12 months now. We announced an MOU with CNMNC last May. So yeah, we've been steadily working away with them, and very, very pleased to have got to this point with a binding offtake agreement, take or pay, 3-year term with another 3-year option. So yeah, it's a really exciting place to be.
As you mentioned there, CMNC Orient Group, I believe, is the full name of the company. Why have they been so interested in your vanadium product?
So they're a subsidiary of China Nonferrous, so the very large mining group out of China that's got global operations and construction in mining all through the world. CNMNC are their specialty metals division, so they're out in Ningxia province. They specialise in things like vanadium and tantalum and niobium. So quite niche, but they're one of the biggest players in the vanadium market in China in the conversion into alloys to go into the steel industry, so ferrovanadium and vanadium nitrogen. I guess from our point of view, we've got a really good product. We've got a really high purity product. Typically our analysis on information that's come through from the pilot study we did in the DFS shows 99.5% or thereabouts purity. Now, put that in perspective, most benchmark pricing for vanadium used in the steel industry is at 98%. So we can automatically give them 1% more vanadium for every pound that they're buying off us. So there's that benefit. So purity, consistency. The other thing I think is that security of supply. Having an operation in a tier 1 jurisdiction like Western Australia, I think they can be very comfortable and confident that the supply is going to keep coming through and have very little interruptions.
And with one binding offtake agreement already locked away, are you on the hunt for others?
Yeah, look, again, this has been a focus for us for a long time. We've, very early on in the piece for this project, we started sending samples out to the market. So engagement with end users, customers, the vanadium industry, it's been a real focus of ours. So for more than 2 years now. So we've got a lot of relationships across the globe with trading companies, end users like CNMNC. We've got an MOU that we announced late last year with a group called Shanxi Fengyuan, again a Chinese vanadium nitrogen group, for 3,000 tonnes per annum is covered under that MOU. So there's a lot of discussions underway at the moment. Traders in Japan, Korea. We've talked to groups in India, all through Europe. So we've got a very, a widespread geographically. We're also looking at the vanadium redox flow battery, which is a sector that we believe very strongly in, and it's going to be a real growth sector for the vanadium industry.
And Ian, what are the next steps in terms of getting your actual project off the ground and turning it into what will become the world's next premier primary vanadium producing mine?
Funding is going to be the big one that we're working on at the moment. So, this is a really key part, and why this is such an important milestone delivering this binding offtake is that, financiers want to see, who are the customers, what quality of customer you've got. We're dealing with one of the biggest mining organizations in China. So we've got that really good pedigree behind our customers. So it's really important. So putting together that whole package around the finance and where the funding is going to come from. We're engaged with the Northern Australian Infrastructure Facility around potentially assisting with funding around infrastructure for the project. So all of those key ingredients are coming together over the next little while to put that financing package together.
And Ian, on those funding and construction milestones, do you have any timelines or dates in mind when you'd like to have those complete?
Well, I guess, there's a lot going on at the moment. There's a lot going on that's out of our control at the moment with the COVID environment that we're working through. So there's all those things to balance. But with the binding offtake agreement that we've got with CNMNC, we've set a date of the middle of 2021 as being a go date. So basically, we'll make a decision, and so really that's our target date. We want to be funded and ready to begin construction before that date. So then really everything else flows from there.
And speaking of the COVID-19, has that impacted any of the work that you've been trying to do at your actual project, or any other dealings that you're having with overseas potential customers?
I guess as an exploration mining company, we're used to working in those sort of remote sort of environments, so we've got the channels there to do that. From our point of view, we're very fortunate. We completed our feasibility study, Q3 last year. So the bulk of the work we had to do on the project was done last year. So we're really through all of that. So we're in that stage now of, as I say, talking to customers, talking to financiers, having conversations over teleconference. We've been really heavily engaged back into the Chinese market, particularly over the last month or so. They've appeared to have come out the other side of this crisis from a business point of view, and we're having a lot of meetings with Chinese counterparts.
And when it comes to vanadium, as a lot of people out there would know, that it's not a commodity as widely discussed as the likes of gold and copper and even lithium. So what is it about vanadium that you see as being the commodity that you want to be involved in?
Well, I touched on it a little bit earlier. The vanadium redox flow battery, stationary energy storage. We're moving more and more to renewable energy. We're looking at microgrids. We're looking at grid support. These batteries that have been developed in the University of New South Wales back in the 80s. They're a perfect solution for grid scale type of storage. So we see that as a massive opportunity. We see that as playing our part in trying to make a greener planet. Right now, the lion's share of vanadium goes into the steel industry, and that will be the case for some time to come, but we really see an opportunity here.
Thanks, Ian, and yeah, congratulations again on the binding offtake agreement. A great milestone to be ticked off in this particular environment. Let's hope it continues, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thanks very much, Michael.